She stared blankly at the plate, letting out a heavy sigh as she tapped the fork rhythmically on the mashed potatoes. Her eyes were distant, focusing on nothing in particular as she thought about one thing. Honey, I know it's been hard since recent events, with your mother. But you shouldn't give up on your music just because she's gone. Lisa felt her father's eyes bearing down on her as silence filled the room. Then he spoke again. Your friends worry about you, I worry about you. She felt a gentle hand rest upon her shoulder as her father continued. Could you play it just one more time? If not for yourself, then for her? He asked. I don't want your life to go by like a bad memory. Lisa deliberately kept her eyes focused on her plate, refusing to look up as she replied shakily. I'm sorry, Dad, I just can't. Every time I see that piano, I think of her. Of that promise we made. Something wet streamed down her cheek as she continued quietly. All those performances at the church. All gone. I can't. Not without her. I just miss her voice. She finally looked up at her father, tears flowing freely now. Dad, why? Why did God take her from us? Cameron watched his daughter for a moment, thinking carefully. Lisa stared back at him, brows slowly furrowing as the silence dragged. Hurry up and say it, she demanded with a slight growl. He cleared his throat, finally responding. It's because sometimes God believes it's time for people to come home earlier. Then they can do anything. Do his work, be at peace. Anything. He looked down at her, hand gently squeezing Lisa's shoulder as he continued. He always takes those of us who are good, and he always does it for a reason. And we will see her again, if we are patient with him, patient with his timing. A tear slid down his cheek then, as he forced a smile. Lisa sat on her bed, staring out the window as rain pelted against the glass. She lifted the fork, taking a bite of the meat on her plate. It wasn't her mother's cooking, but it was almost as good. The scent so similar, the taste so close. Every bite served as another reminder of what her mother used to be, of what it was like when she was around. But as much as she hated to admit it, there was a small part of her that wished she could just forget. Maybe then the pain would go away. Her eyes drifted across the room, glancing at each photo that lined the wall. One of her with her first sheet of music. Another with her and her mother, side by side, singing at the church. The last one caused her to pause, staring at it longer than the rest. It was her sitting in front of a mini piano, smiling wide as she played with the keys. Behind her, her mother stood with a matching expression of joy. Lisa's gaze shifted to the piano at the corner of the room, now blanketed by dust. When was the last time she had played it? She couldn't remember. She froze, still as a statue, as her ears picked up the faint screeching of metal against something. She winced, the sound like nails on a chalkboard. It was rhythmic, and repetitive, and growing in volume. She turned her head to the window, noticing a metallic, sharp shape inching its way into frame. Her eyes widened as the sight came into view. Then, she awoke with a start, something wet streaming down her cheek. She sat for a moment, back resting against the wood log. It had happened again. That dream, always ending the same, with that metal scraping. She jolted as a familiar voice spoke. "Honey, why are you crying?" She looked up to see her mother crouched beside her, expression of concern plastered across her face. Lisa stared at her for a moment, before rushing at her in a tight hug, saying, "I had a nightmare." Lisa felt arms wrapping around her slowly as her mother asked, "Would you like to talk about it?" Lisa felt her tears increase as she replied shakily, "I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it." Her mother squeezed her tighter. "It's all right. We don't have to talk about it. We'll only talk about whatever you want to talk about." Megan, I need help with this camping equipment," Lisa heard her father call out. "All right, one moment," Megan replied. She turned her attention back to Lisa, continuing, "Let me know if you need anything, okay? Your dad and I will be right around the corner. Just rest a bit, sweet pea." She finished before placing a quick kiss to Lisa's forehead. Rising to her feet, she ambled in the direction of her husband. "You know, Cameron, for the man of the house, you really are consistent at needing assistance." "Thanks for making me feel better," Cameron replied, examining the poles in his hands. "I'm still not used to putting these together is all." Megan chuckled lightly. "That's what you said the last 5 times. Cameron chuckled sheepishly, turning his eyes away as he replied, Right." Hours had passed. Lisa now stood with her mother at the center of the campsite. A small crowd had gathered around, some waiting with already knowing anticipation. She smiled wide as Megan placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Ready?" her mother queried. She nodded in reply as a slow melody began. Lisa took in a deep breath, ready to start. But before they could begin, everything was suddenly overcome with a loud bang. Lisa's head jolted to the left in time to spot a marble-white building, flames licking across the roof. Another explosion went off, sending chunks of concrete shooting into the trees. Lisa quickly lost sight as she felt her mother lift her up, holding her tight as she rushed forward. "What the hell was that?" a man shouted. The fire's spreading," a woman called out. "Get to the bus," Lisa heard her father call out. Lisa nestled her head further into her mother's neck, tears flowing freely as Megan ran. The noise was too much. The screeching of metal, breaking of wood, screaming. Lisa's breathing came out quiet but shaky as they finally arrived at the long vehicle. The moment they had entered, Megan had quickly found a seat, setting Lisa down upon it. Within seconds, the bus had grown crowded, people clustering in every corner, every seat, before eventually the door came to a slow hiss, going shut behind the last guy. Her father soon joined beside her and Megan, sweat lining his brow. Around them, discussions could be heard. "What the hell was that?" one said. "Gotta be a type of military strike." "Ain't no way," said another. "I told y'all them aliens were real." "Nah, shut up." "What? That's what it is." A woman in the back glared at the crowd. "Will you all be quiet? You're scaring my son." "Sorry," replied roughly 9 of them in unison. Lisa remained in her seat, her legs pulled tight to her chest, sobbing audible now. Something gentle rested upon her shoulder. She didn't react, didn't move, just remained in her balled-up state. "Hey, Lisa, look at me. You're gonna be fine. We're all fine, okay?" Her mother began, voice soft. "Honey, please, look at me. It's gonna be okay. You're okay." Megan watched her daughter, her jaw tight. After a few moments, she turned to her husband. "Cameron, I need help. She's not responding." Cameron looked to his wife, then his daughter, brow furrowed in thought. After a few moments, he replied, "We need to give her a little while. There's a lot going on right now, okay?" He jolted as another explosion went off, muffled by the walls of the bus. After another moment, Megan looked up at Cameron, a scowl on her face. "We can't just leave her like this." "She's scared, Cameron." Cameron knelt down just enough to be eye level with Megan, his voice coming out quiet. "I understand, but we need a moment to think." His gaze turned to his daughter before returning to Megan as he continued. "Trying to move her now is only gonna make this worse, stress her out more. And you know me, I'm not gonna be able to come up with something that quick. Not yet." He glanced around at the people locked in their own discussions in the bus, before continuing, "I promise I'm going to help. I'm gonna keep the 2 of you safe, okay? I just need a second. Can you give that to me?" he asked, forcing a confident smile. Megan stared at him for a long moment. Then, with a heavy sigh, she nodded. Lisa looked up at her mother, her body shaking uncontrollably. Mom, what's going on?" Her mother immediately spun around to face her, pulling her close as she responded. "Don't worry about it, my little Lisa. It's just noise. God and his angels are protecting us. Always remember that when you are afraid, you are protected." Lisa jumped as more explosions went off in rapid succession. Her mother pulled her closer. "Just relax, honey. It's just loud noises." Her voice was shaky now. Cameron stood, looking over the crowd of people. "Where's the driver? We should be moving." "I don't know," someone replied. I don't think they made it on with us," said another. "Oh, beautiful. So they just ran off in another direction. What jackass doesn't follow the crowd?" a man shouted. Silence immediately cut across the bus as a loud shriek shattered through the windows. Then another, and another. Metallic screeching and tearing flesh following soon after. Cameron froze, eyes wide as he muttered, What's going on out there?" Just then, something wet splattered against glass. Cameron turned his head to see a dark crimson handprint splattered across the glass door of the bus. His eyes narrowed in both fear and confusion as he noticed a silver tint to the bloody print. He crept closer to the door, attempting to peer through the glass. Immediately, he jolted back as something smacked against the door once more. "Help me! Oh God, help me!" a woman screamed from the other side. "Please! They killed my family! Please! Let me in!" Cameron stared at the glass, hesitating for a moment before slowly he opened the door. Immediately, a woman shoved her way in, causing Cameron to stumble back as she bumped into him. Her head darted around in a panic, bloodshot eyes scanning each individual one by one. Her body was drenched in red, chest rising and falling rapidly. She then looked at Cameron, saying, Thank you so much. I'd have been dead if not for you." Cameron straightened himself up, replying, "No problem. What's going on out there?" he queried. It's awful," the woman began. There's so many of them." Her body shook vigorously as she spoke. Cameron placed a hand on her shoulder. "Hey, relax. We're gonna figure this out." He paused for a moment, then added, "Many of what?" The woman was silent for a long moment, her trembling never ceasing. Cameron watched her as she lifted a hand to her mouth, shoulders bobbing. "Hey, don't cry. We're gonna figure this out, and..." His voice slipped away as a low sizzling and tearing began emanating from the woman. His eyes widened as he noticed something crimson dangling from beneath the woman's hand before bits of it fell to the ground. Cameron took an unconscious step back as a low giggling began. The woman pulled her hand away, causing Cameron to freeze in place at the sight. Where once lips were, now shone 2 rows of exposed, metallic teeth. Bits of skin and torn meat hung from her now iron jaw as she spoke, her voice sounding more robotic. "Many who are not yet part of Stelloy's family." Cameron lifted his arm in defense as the thing suddenly lunged at him, its mechanical whirring echoing across the bus as its jaws clamped down on his appendage. Cameron gritted his teeth, holding back a scream as meat tore and bone cracked. His breathing came out heavy as he turned, using the momentum to fling the thing off him. Only after his arm was violently released from the thing's maw did he realize he had just thrown that monster right into a group of people who were now shrieking in terror, rushing to the back of the bus. Cameron clutched at his wound. He had no time to be worrying about the others. He had bigger things to worry about. "Cameron!" Megan exclaimed. Are you okay?" "Good enough," he grunted. "We need to leave. It's not safe here." Lisa felt herself lifted from the seat, her mother clutching her tight to her chest. She clamped her eyes shut as she felt the air growing colder, her mother rushing out of the vehicle, Cameron at her side, clutching his arm. Her eyes didn't open once as her parents moved. This could not be happening. It felt too much like the dreams she'd had. The screams, the tearing of skin and meat, the ear-piercing scraping of metal across concrete. It was too much. "Dear Lord," she could hear her mother say. Is he missing his..." But her sentence went unfinished as Cameron shouted, "Do not look at it. That thing is not human anymore." Lisa huddled in her mother's arms, eyes still clamped shut, tears now flowing freely. She wished the noise would just stop, that it would go away. She wanted so badly to wake up, for it to all be a dream. And yet, she remained awake. She didn't know how long they'd been running for. All she knew was that her parents were scared, and that made her scared. The fright in their shaky voices as they slammed the door shut, those heavy sighs of relief as they knew they had finally found somewhere safe. Home. It reminded her of her situation. Lisa felt her breathing even out a little as she was set down on the couch. She looked to see her father a few feet away, looking over his arm. He was silent, expression solemn, as he let out a sigh. Honey, what's wrong? Her mother asked. What is it? Lisa watched as her mother froze, hand rising to her mouth. Lisa froze as she noticed a tear sliding down her father's cheek. Her gaze moved down, expression switching to one of curiosity and anxiousness as she noticed something silver creeping across Cameron's wound. Cameron, what is that? Megan inquired. Cameron was silent for a few heartbeats, staring down at his forearm. I don't know, he muttered finally. He took in a deep breath, turning to his wife before continuing. But I don't think I have much longer. How do you know that? Megan asked, voice shaky. You saw those things out there. All of them had the same symptom, preaching the same thing. I'll be one before you know it. He paused for a moment, then added, Get the gun from the safe. What? Get the gun, Cameron repeated to his wife. I don't wish to become one of those things. I can't. We can figure this out. There's no reason to go that far yet. We can do something. We can... Listen to me, Cameron cut her off. You know what you saw. Megan looked at him for a second. Then after a moment, hesitantly, she nodded. Okay, then you know what that means. Get the gun. It will be okay. You and Lisa will be okay. Megan stared at him a moment longer before rushing away. She paused at the stairs, hesitating for a moment before moving again. Some time passed before she returned, a small pistol clutched in her hands. Now what? She asked. Cameron pointed to his head, the metal visibly eating away at more of his skin. Right here. It'll be quick and easy. Done and over with. Megan began to sob. I can't. I just can't. Her body trembled as she stared at him through tear-filled eyes. Yes, you can, Cameron said calmly. He stepped forward, taking her hands into his, guiding her. He smiled as the muzzle pressed against his forehead. It will be okay. You will be okay, he said, voice more robotic. She awoke, screaming. Hey, it's okay. Her father wrapped an arm around her. What happened? Was it that dream again? Lisa looked up at him, tears staining her cheeks. Cameron let out a heavy sigh. That's the 4th time this week. It's almost nightly now. He looked at her, expression gentle as he continued. Hey, go get yourself something to eat. Maybe that'll take your mind off of it for a bit, okay? We can talk later. He sent her on her way. After a moment, he turned his attention to the desk beside the couch, examining the paper that lay atop it. The drawing on the page served as a reminder. A creature, enormous, creeping along at all fours. Its jaw hung agape, crimson eyes focusing on something that wasn't there. Dark horns protruded from atop its head, nearly scraping across the clouds. Long black claws were etched into the page, their shape like that of knives. He had talked with some of the other parents in the neighborhood, the topic coming up by accident in discussion. Their children had also had the nightmare, almost identical to Lisa. His eyes narrowed as he examined the image, a single thought crossing his mind. How can every child have the same dream of this thing? Of this Stelloy? This story was provided by Dwayne Asher 6765. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right because my narrator is not being helpful at the moment. But if you would like to be just like our very first subscriber story here, all you have to do is leave a comment below, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I will see if I can get around to it. It could be anything from just a few words, a character, or even a couple of sentences, and I'll see what I can come up with.